Next, we are talking about the Four Noble Truths. I should finish this before the outing, then we can go and have a great time, without any worries or attachments wherever we go. All the monastics here, it should be here, right? To all the monks and nuns present. For you monks and nuns here, the precepts are basically the same, and there are just two more disciplines you need to follow. First, you should wear monastic robes at all times. Without monastic robes, you appear no different from a layperson, and there is nothing else to indicate you are a monastic. The only thing that distinguishes you from lay people is wearing monastic robes. That is the first point. Then the second, lay practitioners are allowed to have sex with their spouses, and this is not considered sexual misconduct. However, you monastic practitioners must avoid the sexual act altogether. Otherwise, you are breaking a root vow. Today, there are many monastics present, so I emphasize the four root precepts and the precept of abstaining from alcohol, the 5 precepts. I hope that from now on you can always wear your monastic robes properly and observe the 5 precepts carefully. Then, even if you fail to observe other precepts on a stricter level, it will not be a big problem. When His Holiness was abroad, he told them the same thing. In fact, it should be like this. We should teach different levels of precepts to different beings. We can't always be extremely strict. According to the Tibetan Vinaya texts, if you have not taken ordination, you have no qualification to wear monastic robes. But here in this place, if there is no favorable condition for you to receive monastic vows for the time being, you may wear the monastic robes as long as you take the refuge vows and observe the 5 precepts. His Holiness gave this special permission at that time. Once you wear the robes inherited from the Buddha, for anyone who sees you, the seed of liberation will be planted in their mind streams. Meanwhile, you will not be harmed by demonic forces. Yes, just having the monastic appearance, as mentioned in the 10 chakras of Ksitigarbha Sutra, will enable you to experience signs of spiritual progress and realization quickly and smoothly. Someday, when there are favorable conditions, you should immediately take ordination. It would be unacceptable if you do not take ordination when there is a good opportunity, yet still wear monastic robes. Back then, there were some people who wanted to be monastics, but due to work reasons, they couldn't keep the full precepts. Everyone had their own complex situations. In Ahkon Lhamo's center at that time, this was the main situation, so His Holiness saw the monastics in the front and gave them some teachings. At that time, I was thinking about the people in the back as I heard there were many scholars and teachers. The teachings should have been tailored to them. Sometimes various wandering thoughts arise while listening to the teachings. As for the third and fourth, the truths of cessation and the path. What is the ultimate fruit of virtuous karma? It is Buddhahood, a state of ultimate bliss in which all suffering is eradicated. To attain Buddhahood is to realize the truth of cessation, and in order to realize it, you must rely on the truth of the path. To rely on the truth of the path means to align your mind stream with the right spiritual path. In this world, the Buddha Dharma is classified into the common vehicles and the great vehicle. The latter is further divided into the Sutrayana and the Vajrayana of secret mantra. Thus, there are mainly 3 vehicles, the common vehicle and then the 2 divisions of the great vehicle. In the common vehicles, you take refuge in Buddha Shakyamuni, and on that basis, you abandon all intentions and acts of harming others and focus only on benefiting yourself. Nowadays, in countries like Sri Lanka, Myanmar, and Thailand, there are many people practicing the common vehicles. Comparatively, all Mahayana teachings emphasize benefiting others more than benefiting yourself. With the sole concern of others' benefit, your intention and actions are fully dedicated to the accomplishment of the benefit of others, maintaining loving kindness and compassion that intend to place all sentient beings in the state of Buddhahood. This is the practice of Mahayana. If you are a follower of the common vehicles, you need to refrain from the intentions and acts of inflicting harm on others. If you are a follower of the great vehicle, you are required to not only avoid harming others, but also work solely for the benefit of others. People who practice this path can now be found in most Han regions and Japan. Are there altruistic people in Japan? When I went there, I saw a few, but some Japanese-speaking Dharma friends might be unhappy if I say otherwise. Yes, they have them. They exist in Japan. Do they? I suppose they must. Yes, Choje also mentioned that Followers can be found in most Han regions and Japan. You can definitely find them. On the basis of Mahayana, numerous supreme instructions are employed, which is called Vajrayana of secret mantra. Following this path, you do not have to undergo a long-term ascetic practice and will swiftly accomplish Buddhahood. By applying many expedient means and wisdom, it is possible for a practitioner to become a Buddha within this very life. The expedient means refer to the practice of the generation stage, in which you visualize yourself as the deity and so forth. Wisdom refers to the practice of the completion stage, including the view that all phenomena are empty. These two methods, the generation and completion stages, belong to Vajrayana of secret mantra. In the land of Tibet, Bhutan, and other regions, a lot of people engage in Vajrayana practice. Now in the US, there are many Dharma centers established by Tibetan Buddhist masters, and their disciples are practicing Vajrayana. There are also many Tibetan masters in other countries and places who endeavor to build Dharma centers to greatly promote the Vajrayana teaching. Yes, now it seems indeed that it has spread all over the world. The number of practitioners of Tibetan Buddhism is increasing. In the future, when establishing, for example, if promoting it in the Han region, doing it purely in the Chinese Buddhist style might be more convenient, due to various reasons. But in other places, perhaps establishing Tibetan Buddhist centers would be more popular that way. It might be better. It depends on the situation. But many things will change in the future. It should be fine. Of all the Vajrayana teachings of secret mantra, which one is the most supreme among all paths, the wisdom intent of all Buddhas, and the heart essence of numerous female Buddhas and Dakinis? It is the clear light teaching of Dzogchen. If you have received the supreme skillful pith instructions of this teaching, then it is indeed true that if you practice it during daytime, you will become a Buddha in the day. If you practice it during night, you will become a Buddha that very night. For those with wonderful karmic fortune, they do not even need to practice but will become a Buddha, just like Milarepa. Just hearing its name will block the door to the lower realms. Just seeing the words of its texts, touching them or recalling them will enable you to easily and swiftly reach the state of perfect Buddhahood. Like a wish-fulfilling jewel, it does not appear in the world often. Even for someone who is busy with worldly aims and pursuits and is preoccupied by trivial matters, someone who endeavors in the business of this life, it is also very easy to practice. You will attain the result in a very short time. However, except for fortunate ones, other people will not be able to encounter this teaching. If you have encountered this Dzogchen teaching, it is impossible not to attain liberation through it. Choje ultimately encouraged them to practice Dzogchen. In the land of Tibet, the peerless masters who first erected the victory banner of secret mantrayana were Orgyen Padmasambhava and Vimalamitra. I have been translating the biography of Padmasambhava recently, but it seems Padmasambhava also encountered many difficulties in Tibet. I didn't expect that the Padmasambhava we often pray to went through such things. Because of certain religions at that time and some treacherous ministers whose hearts were possessed by demons, they kept pressuring King Trisong Detsen to send Padmasambhava away. They insisted this tantric master must be sent back. The king seemed to have no real power. Trisong Detsen at that time had no choice but to listen to those treacherous ministers. Finally, they told Padmasambhava, "You must leave quickly." It is said they sent 18 assassins to kill Padmasambhava. Well, every era is like this. Looking back, it's quite a dramatic story. It was the complexity of history back then, the complexity of religion, and the complexity of the human heart. So many issues. The short biography of Padmasambhava is not very long, but as I was writing, I felt a bit sad. Padmasambhava back then wasn't seen as the peerless Guru Rinpoche we see now. He seemed quite pitiable and was eventually driven away. He only stayed in Tibet for 18 months, a year and a half. This is generally accepted. The clear light Dzogchen is the innermost profound teaching that these two great masters imparted to their heart disciples in the manner of entrusting them with this most valuable treasure. Even in the land of Tibet, this teaching is hard to encounter. Among the many teachings of the 8 lineages of attainment, the clear light teaching of Dzogchen is the supreme one only specific to Ngagyo Nyingma. As I have said before in San Francisco, in your country, the United States, Quite a lot of people are the proper vessels to receive the Dzogchen teaching. It might be the same in the Han region. People have such great faith in Dzogchen. For other teachings, if I say, I'll teach you a supreme pith instruction on Madhyamaka, people ask, can you give me an empowerment instead? Can you give me a liberation through wearing for enlightenment in this life? Can you do this or that? Although I have lectured on many other teachings, it seems they are not that welcomed. But whenever I speak on Dzogchen, everyone becomes extremely joyous, and their unusual faith and devotion are clearly reflected in their facial expressions. Yes, it shows on your faces sometimes. Since your country is economically advanced, people here always have various ambitions and are preoccupied with many businesses. In such a case, it is hard to achieve desirable results through practices other than Dzogchen. This simple but highly effective practice, Dzogchen, is much more suitable for you. I do believe that a lot of Western Buddhists will be enlightened by the Dzogchen teaching. I hope you can devote yourself to the practice of Dzogchen now and afterwards. Tashidelik, let's read a bit more of the following part to get a feel for it. During our stay in Washington, D.C., Yijin Norbu resided at Kunzang Palyul Choling. It's not far from Washington, D.C., about an hour's drive or so, that very place. Washington itself isn't a state, but you get there very quickly. It was a tranquil and secluded monastery with luxuriant green trees. Staying in such a place, it seemed that we had arrived at the deer park back in the time of the Buddha. It was indeed a very nice place. Some of our Dharma friends here have also visited Kunzang Choling. Kunzang Palyul Choling still exists now. The center was established by Ahkon Lhamo. She is the female tulku recognized by His Holiness Penor Rinpoche. I saw her photos. She's looking a bit older now, but she is still alive. She had invited me several times, but the causes and conditions didn't come together. They are still doing very well now. Although she has not taken monastic ordination, she has trained a lot of monastic practitioners. This is very uncommon in the Western world. It might be the same in the East. A lay person training so many monastics. There probably aren't many precedents, right? Before Ahkon Lhamo was enthroned as a tulku, she loved collecting crystals. She used to be in business or something. She especially loved crystals, all kinds of them. There are crystals everywhere in her center. We saw crystals of various colors everywhere in the center. Ahkon Lhamo invited Khenpo Rinpoche to take a look at the crystals she collected. He wanted to find a naturally formed octagon crystal because a crystal of such shape is helpful for Dzogchen practice. We searched for a while but did not find one. Look at His Holiness in those photos. He was touching them with his hands all the time. Because most of them were hexagonal crystals, there were no octagon crystals, so we just couldn't find one. His Holiness looked at this one and that one. He was searching through them. He checked several, but didn't really find what he was looking for. In the following days, during our stay in Washington, D.C., actually, we went directly to Ahkon Lhamo's center on the first day, and then went to that place in D.C. to give lectures. We actually stayed here for several days. Chögyé toured famous tourist attractions in the daytime, visiting sites in Washington, D.C., and gave empowerments or teachings in the evening. Now that we've reached this part, all right, let's have a good time and enjoy.
Bandara Padmasambhava